Hey guys, Ugo here. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're smiling, shining and thriving, not just surviving. We are here again today with the 99 days of value and this is day 11. And yeah, we're here again. So it's been an interesting one, and so hopefully this has been providing value to you some way, shape or form, but we keep it going. So this is day 11. Now, today what we're going to be talking about, now mind you, today we're going to be talking financials in some way, shape or form, and I'll throw the disclaimer out in all of them, even though it's not going to be directly, but it's like, this ain't financial advice, do what you want to do with your life, but this is going to be valuable for you. Now, today we're going to be talking about the ABCs of financial literacy, the ABCs. Now, if I set my thing correctly, now, A, B, C, we got A, B, C, and then we got A, B, C. So A cubed, A, B, C cubed. Let's call it like that. Now, when it comes to finances, what you find is that, very much so financial advisors and, end up becoming like a therapist to some extent, because realistically your financial life, as I've said in the previous one, is reflected in your personal life and vice versa. So if you sort out your personal life, you sort out your financial life and vice versa, as per your personal goals are expressed in financial goals. Now, when people think about financial literacy, it's having a set of knowledge and tools to make well-informed decisions. That's essentially what it is, in a financial sense. And that comes up with little habits, that comes up with little tools and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, I'm not going to make this today's very long video because in each of these aspects, we can actually go so deep into them. But we're going to try and keep it, relatively short and sweet based on this. But what you find is that, just like an 80-20 rule, which is the Pareto rule, which is basically like 80% of the input results in 20% of the value, and vice versa, 20% of the value provides, 80% of the results. So there's the top side of it. The only thing with the Pareto is that somewhat you do have to get through the 80% to get that 20% to actually sort out that stuff. So when you're on your journey of financial literacy, you'll find that you change a lot of your behaviors and how you view money and how you view your finances and your life in general in order to kind of be in sync in terms of achieving what you want to achieve. So on this side, we've got like the knowledge, we've got the process, and we've got you. Yeah. So this is A, B, C. So this is the aspect in which you need the knowledge, this is the aspect you need you, and in the middle is just the process. So we'll just put this in terms of the process of you getting there. Now this A over here means assets. Down here, this B means budget. This C means credit. Now, when it comes to the ABCs in terms of knowledge, asset, budget, credit, in terms of you, attitude, behavior, and control. Now, obviously, when it comes into financial literacy and trying to achieve anything financially, primarily is about accumulating assets and understanding the different assets you have within you or within your life that you need to accumulate in order to kind of set yourself in whatever you're trying to do. For most people, your primary asset in terms of generating income for you would be your job in terms of your income, but there's other firm assets like property, land, there's somewhat that are somewhat solid but liquid, let's call them lukewarm, like stocks, where it's like you can sell them very fast but they're in actual stable companies, but they're somewhat volatile. There's bonds, there's personal, investing in yourself in terms of your training, your degree, school, learning. All of these are different assets that you can put to task in different ways for you to achieve stuff. The best investment you can never make in this life is in yourself. Now, budget. So obviously this is because your assets essentially reflects your goals, because you want to accumulate assets, but then within there is set up in terms of goals and things that you're getting. Budget essentially is your strategy. A budget is like your battle plan. What am I going to do? How I'm going to use these assets to get what I'm trying to get to? Your 5-year plan, your 10-year plan is essentially a budget. It's essentially a strategy of I go to uni and I'm going to go to here and I'm going to Barbados and I'm going to work here and do all of these things. It's your strategy of how you're going to accumulate what you want to do financially, and this is putting your assets to work, whether that be your money, your time, your energy, and putting that into work. Am I going to work for somebody for free for 6 years because the apprenticeship I'll learn from them, even though I'm not working, the value I'm getting is going to get me where I want to be to invest in myself. So this is your budget in terms of your strategy. So in terms of financial terms, getting a home, whatever assets accumulating, you have income, you want to increase it to getting a home, your budget will put into, okay, we're going to do £20 a month, £200 a month, X, Y, Z. Now credit is your tools. It's your tools of what you have, your financial tools that you have to kind of, get ahead or, go behind or whatever you want to do. And this is, primarily your credit score, which we'll talk about another day. Your credit score, credit report are two different things. One's a reflection, one is the detail, whether that be loans, credit, overdrafts, savings accounts, credit accounts, ISAs, insurance, wills, lawyers, accountants, all these different aspects, all the tools that you can use financially are under the guise of credit. This is essentially financial tools. So you see that ABC in that sense. Now when it comes to you, attitude. Now how you view money or finances or your process will very much affect you. It's like this one is essentially mindset. For example, some people tell me that, the lack of money is the root of all evil, or the love of money is the root of all evil, but then everybody wants money, whether you're good or bad, and people give money to help people, whether they're good or bad, and people take money away from them, whether they're good or bad. Ultimately, money is a tool. It's apolitical. It's it's essentially your mindset of how you approach not just finances, but how do you approach life. Are you very much progressive in how you see yourself in terms of that? Then you kind of reflect that in what you're doing. So this comes out into like your mindset of how you're going. So it's this, and then when you come into behavior, this is about mindset, but this is how you set your mind. So. And the set your mind is afterwards, if that makes sense. So basically, our attitude is the way you see the world or see the money, and this is how your behavior is actually how you function in real time. And then setting your mind is how much you try to influence your own behavior in order to get where you want to go to. So for example, if you're somebody that is an emotional eater, when you get stressed, you can actually correlate when you were stressed on your bank statement, because that's when your delivery or Uber Eats went up. So if that's how you behave, or that you're someone that goes window shopping, or is somebody that when you see a lot of money in your account, then you're gonna go spend it because you feel like you have money. Like, how do you actually behave and how do you actually function in the day-to-day? So your mindset might be very positive, like, yeah, I want to invest and stuff like that and all this kind of thing, but your behavior in the day-to-day, you're always spending and you're always going out and always buying stuff, window shopping. Like, have you gone a day without spending money? You're not sure. So how's your behavior on a general point of view? Then the C, like I said here, is control. Now, the biggest enemy we actually have ourselves 9 times out of 10. And so what control do we have in order to come and do this behavior? So, whenever you're doing like a budget, for example, you should always take into mind your actual reality. So for example, some people because they start off very lofty in terms of their goals, and then they're very elated in their mindset, almost like when your New Year's buzz, and it's like someone who wasn't going to the gym goes from not going to the gym to going 5 times a week, and then they're putting themselves in a lot of deficit in terms of like, okay, now they're eating just chicken and rice to the point that 3 months later they feel like they're punishing themselves, and then they have one cheat day. And when they're having the cheat day, it's almost like, I deserve this because I've been putting all this work. And then sometimes you just regress back to where you went back into. So ultimately, when you're actually trying to get yourself to A to B, like we said in the previous video, you take one step at a time to get there. But how do you control yourself to make sure that the behaviors that you have in place, even though you set your mind and say, okay, cool, I like Ubers, but then changing my behavior, I'll go to bed on time so that I can wake up early enough to actually go and, reach there on time. What's my control for that? Is that putting an alarm to make sure I stay awake? Do I have one very good thing in terms of both behavior and control is something called which we talk about in Tickzon Mentorship Scheme, is an accountability partner, which is somebody that holds you accountable, that is, not somebody that you're in a relationship with unless you're married or looking to be married, because what you don't want to do is set up an accountability partner which you depend on to keep you accountable, that disappears if that relationship ever gets severed. Have somebody that can hold you to account, not somebody that will go too soft on you. Accountability is a very big thing. But for example, for me, if I overspend in a certain category, I tax myself. There's actually apps for this, that if you spend too much on this, then it'll take £2 out of this, or times 10 or whatever. So how do you control your behavior? So ABC in terms of assets, budget, credit. ABC in terms of yourself, your attitude, behavior, and control. And in the middle, in the B, in the process, which is the middle, was just essentially the process. So this is all in the same vein: knowledge, you, and whatever financial aspect you're trying to achieve, this same process will apply. So A, in the process point of view, is accumulating. B is building, and C is compound. Now, essentially, in terms of the process of everything you're doing, you're accumulating knowledge, you're accumulating wealth, you're accumulating income, whether you're changing jobs, it might be your strategy for you to change jobs to elevate your income, you're accumulating. Now, when you're accumulating, you need to set that into, as you're gaining assets, you need to set that into your budget and send that somewhere. You need to deploy it. And that comes, okay, you're now building something, you're now building a foundation for yourself, whether that be an emergency fund, whether that be a deposit, a home, X, Y, Z. What are you building? Because ultimately, the things that you build will be things that will become the firm assets that kind of end up feeding your life, essentially. So accumulating, in everything you're doing, you're essentially accumulating knowledge, you're accumulating in different aspects. Also in the process is building. It's just like, as I said, you're building foundation and all that kind of thing. Now see, compounding. So, and this is when I say, I'm talking about, I call it compounding as opposed to just compound interest. So compounding is, success is little things done consistently over time. It's not about being motivated all the time. It's about moving when you need to move all the time. And that's really what gets you there. It's discipline and commitment that gets you there at the end. And so compounding is essentially, whether it's the little times you put in terms of increasing your knowledge, it has a compounding effect. The more you learn, the more you understand, the better you get. The more you learn, the more you understand, the better you get. I'm feeling like I'm getting into a groove. But like same thing with in terms of money or investing or all those kind of things, compound interest. And this kind of reflects heavily in terms of your time invested, whether that be a business, whether that be investment. It's like compound interest. They said is what is it, the eighth wonder of the world, is because the longer you have in the market, is the time in the market is better than time in the market. For those who know how to time in the market, have good luck on you. But not just in this, but just in terms of a lot of things. If you're starting a business, it takes about 5 to 7 years before you even become profitable. So if you're going to start up a startup business, you have to understand you need to be ready to put in the hours and the time for up to 5 to 7 years before you actually see it prosper. It's not something that's going to happen over 1 year. And that's the reason why the younger you are, the more time you have. But that's also one reason why wasting time shouldn't be your prerogative, because now is always the best time. Yesterday was the best time. Today is the second best time. That's the reason why we said in a previous day of value was that overthinkers, procrastinators, and perfectionists are siblings in the same family, known as wasting your time, with their younger brother down there or younger sibling out there who just put out lofty goals but it's not trying to achieve it. Wasting time is not necessarily something you want to do. Do what you can where you can. It all has an effect. You don't go and start running because you have all the gear. If you have a simple trainer, start jogging. You don't start trying to cook at home once you've got like a gourmet chef and all the knives and everything. You got something in the fridge, boil some pasta, start somewhere. The compounding effect of things, even if you're for somebody who's saving £10 here or there and investing £10, even just the accumulation of that habit is very important for you. So ultimately what we're saying here is that you can sum up understanding finances in general in terms of financial literacy into the ABC cubed. Mr. Tickzon has brought this one to you, so this is how I kind of view financials. So ABC in terms of asset, budget, credit, yourself in terms of attitude, behavior, control, and the process of which you are undergoing, which is accumulating, building, and compounding, and the compounding effect. And you can apply this into anything. For example, if it's a home, A would be A. You can do ABC into anything. You'll be, you know, well, we'll do that in another video, to be honest, as opposed to giving too much in this video, because your time is valuable, and so that's why I hope I've not wasted it. So thank you very much for watching. My name's been Ugo. Your name has been blessed, and I wish you a blessed day, and I'll see you tomorrow.